I saw her in a pub, and I just came across, I was very struck by her. Mo was had just started in the fashion course. She was going out with Ozzie Clark, a well-known fashion designer. He mentions her in his autobiography. He calls her Maureen. He said he was very struck with her. This is when she was in France with Ozzie the year before I met her. But again, you know, she just used to wear these headscarves and that. Whatever she wore, she could make it into something somehow, you know, it's just the natural. I first spoke to her October 62-ish. She was helping to put the party on a new intake, but I actually ended up walking her back to Piccadilly to catch the all-night bus to Wythenshawe, during which she complimented me on my original chat-up lines. New patter, she called it, new patter. That's one of us getting married, February 26, 1965. That's Mo cutting the cake. That's quite a nice one. About 1970. I taught her to draw much more freely. She'd draw and think at the same time, and she so that it was very much she couldn't, without drawing, she had difficulty designing, except she did design on the mannequin on the stand. That she found that quite good. It was a bit like drawing. And but these are her drawings, which are very loose, but they really get the quality of movement. You know, she's. But they're not. They don't. The drawings don't dominate the ideas, which you got a lot with fashion drawing, where people are more concerned with making a sharp drawing. That's Mo. Mo used to do all the pressing, and Joyce was wonderful at making patterns. Mo was very creative and very fluent with her drawing. She could very, very creative. And Joyce was just brilliant at taking a drawing and turning it into a three-dimensional pattern. She was an absolute genius, you know. Mo was fantastic at pressing. She could turn, she did demonstrations for people where she turned what looked like an ordinary garment into something rare just because she pressed it so well and so knowingly. She could, you know, she could mould things when she was pressing them. So they were a really good team. They've fantastic, you know, coordination of talents. When they were starting up, they hadn't got a name, and so I thought up QUI, partly because they were very keen on French fashion. There was lots of things around like Mary Quant. QUI, it's very simple. Well, she was a prolific producer of notebooks. She used to just use the notebooks to think with. I mean, this I'd come in here and this would be covered with notebooks and drawings. She was very, very much into fabrics, and but also she was always collecting photographs of things. She was very interested in fabrics and buttons. She loved buttons, and there were a lot of button manufacturers in Manchester, you know, from back in the 19th century, in the Jewish quarter particularly. And they used to get a lot of their supplies from near their workroom. And she just loved, like, say, this here. These are just similar buttons that were just slightly in a different ways, different material, different colour. Those are all the same, but again. But you'd see she'd go from there, just develop all those, all from the same idea, of one idea, and then just lead to another. It was just wonderful to see her working, because it was just like, it was like watching her think, you know. And it was a drawing that allowed, drawing was the language that allowed her to do that. It gave her a fluidity that she wouldn't have otherwise had, I don't think, in terms of her thinking. Some of the books got bigger and bigger. These were books in the late 90s. But again, you can see here she's just interested in all sorts of little bits and pieces, but there's a lovely fluidity about it. It's almost like people walking into the drawing. She wasn't scared of sticking photographs in if she liked something, you know. And she was forever matching fabrics, putting fabrics together in some very subtle combinations. Again, the drawings are just so fluent, you know. Yeah, I like the way she just was quite inhibited, the way she just stuck a photograph in if she thought she'd seen something she wanted to remember. She wasn't at all inhibited by the fact that she was somebody else's work. But I think a key thing in these are these continuity developments of ideas. Is another good example. And she'd go very quickly from one idea, developing it through into another idea. You know, it's just like the way you get some people who've got a facility for language, you know, and she just had it in terms of a drawing, I think. Well, and it was so quick when she was doing it. She wouldn't let the drawing get in the way of the idea, you know. So she kept everything as simple as she could, and worked very quickly. Yeah, I like the way she just would stick a photograph in and not bother. You know, it's just a reference. There's some lovely ones on here, yeah. These little things like this, just lovely little drawings. You know, the way she just would scroll them down, and yet there's so much life in them, you know. The way, quite jaunty poses and things, you know. There's people now who still say they wear her clothes they bought 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because they were so well tailored. And this was a flat we had in Altrincham, and this was her where she used to work. I just love things like that, which are just such casual shots, but just the panache of the way she stands. I remember when she was ill, she died from pancreatic cancer in 2004, August 2004. And I remember the doctor, and I remember talking to him, and he said, one of the most stylish women he'd ever met, he said. We were married in February 65, and she died in August 2004. Tragedy of my life, I'm afraid. It sounds a bit dramatic, that, but she was wonderful. No, I was very lucky to have such a good relationship with her for so long. Well, it's a bit weak on my part that I am, you know, that I've not come to terms with the fact that she's died. Really, that's what it is. Well, she was my life, really.